Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is the religion class for Monday, March 29th. Is it the 29th or is it the 30th? It's the 30th, huh? March 30th. And I'm talking to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Well, today's slide is just a one slide, but you know me, I'll be doing a lot of talking. So we did some study on King David, and we're going to round out King David today by talking about Bathsheba. So David led the armies of Jerusalem, and then in 2 Samuel, for some reason, one spring he doesn't lead the army. He sends his generals out, and he stays in the city. While in Jerusalem, he's on his porch. Jerusalem is basically set on three hills, and so there was nothing on the top hill. David's palace was on the second hill. Later on, there's going to be the temple on the top hill, which today has the Dome of the Rock on it, and then the people lived on the third hill. Um, so David's out on his porch. He's looking out, and he sees a woman bathing on her roof. Now, you may think, man, this is really strange, a woman bathing on her roof. But keep in mind that roofs served almost as another room for um, the people of Israel. The roof, they would a lot of times grow flax so that they could make cloth out of that. Um, they also grew herbs and flowers on the roofs. And it wasn't uncommon to take a bath on a roof. Um, so, because remember, your house doesn't have it has windows, but it doesn't have window panes, it doesn't have curtains, it may or may not have a door. So, um, the roof would actually be more private to take your bath than, say, in your house. And so Bathsheba is taking a bath, and David sees her. So he sends for her, and they have a relationship. She ends up being pregnant. Now David's in a quandary because Bathsheba is married to one of his soldiers, um, the Hittite, and when he calls him back, hoping that he'll go and be with his wife, the man says, "Oh no, my soldiers can't be with their wives. I won't be with my wife." And so David arranges for Uriah to be killed. Because of that, Nathan the prophet comes to see David and says, "Look, I got a case I need you to judge. There was this rich guy and he had lots of sheep, and there's a poor guy and he had one little sheep, and he was so in love with his little sheep. But the rich guy had some friends over, and so he took the poor man's sheep and ate it and served it to his friends. So what should we do with this guy?" And David said, um, "Oh, he's going to pay. He's really upset with this guy." And Nathan says, "Well, you're the guy," talking about Bathsheba and Uriah and David killing Uriah. So Bathsheba's child dies, um, and her next child with David is Solomon, who becomes King Solomon, and she has actually two other children with David. So in the old days, when it was a man's world, um, David was seen as the poor little innocent king, and Bathsheba as trying to lure David by bathing on her roof. Um, but both Joyce Holiday, who wrote Clothed in the Sun, Biblical Women, Social Justice, and Us, and Andrea Stevens, Bible Babes, both see Bathsheba as a victim. You know, you certainly couldn't refuse the king. If the king called you to the palace and he wanted to sleep with you, you had to sleep with him. End of story. And so they actually both see her as a victim, and not only as a victim, but caught into this terrible web of being pregnant, her husband being killed, and then the king taking her in. It just wasn't very good for her. Now later on, when King David's about to die, Bathsheba will go to David and ask him to make Solomon his heir, um, and David will relent and do that. So I hope you have a good day, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow and to answer the questions about David, Nathan, and Bathsheba. Bye.